we talk about this network being built by first responders, for first responders. We have people like Brad that have this expertise in public safety because they lived it.
And we thought we were doing great. Everything was going along fine. And then the World Trade Center happened. The attacks came and it changed everything because now we had a real threat. I did respond to the World Trade Center. I stood there at ground zero and we had a total collapse of a lot of our communication systems for public safety. And it was a problem we'd had for decades.
It's about making sure that when they show up, they can work together, right? And so a lot of our time is spent making sure that the technology, standards, the implementation, all of that is there so that all those things can work together so that, heaven forbid, if there is ever another situation like 9/11, they can communicate with each other.
I'm Philip Mason, the editor of Critical Communications Today, which, for those who don't know, is this. Please feel free to like and subscribe in the description. And if you go to the website, you can also sign up for your own physical copy of Critical Communications Today. And we'll look forward to having you on board.
First of all, I have got Brad Morell alongside working colleague Matt Walsh. So what I'm going to do, gentlemen, I think as soon as people hear you speak, they're going to realise you come from the other side of the pond. So I'm going to ask you first, Brad, why you're here. Why are you here at this event?
Sure, absolutely. So I work for the FirstNet Authority. We are the federal authority for the U.S. government to deploy a nationwide public safety broadband network dedicated to the mission and communications of public safety. FirstNet Authority built this program, one of the first in the world, to meet the evolving needs of public safety and to solve a long-standing problem with interoperability with our communications. So here collaborating and learning and sharing some of the things that we've acquired and mistakes we've made and helping the others so we can keep learning, and because the mission of public safety is global and we all are in it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as this world, in a sense, becomes smaller, doesn't it, Matt? It becomes smaller with how we can communicate, but sometimes it becomes maybe larger, more disparate in terms of how we communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, my name is Matt Walsh, and so I'm with AT&T. I represent the product organization for FirstNet, built with AT&T, right? So I'm the contractor basically to Brad. Brad holds me accountable to delivering this network that they had a vision to deliver, right? And this show is so exciting for us. It's a great opportunity to see the entire world right now really is embarking on this move from narrowband kind of radio-like form factors where they communicate with each other to these broadband capabilities, right? And so we've been leading the way in this public-private partnership. Really, the most successful public-private partnership in U.S. history is between these two organizations and trying to find ways. One, how do we help the rest of the world execute on that? But then what are the lessons learned that we can also go and implement in our own?
One of the things I've talked about on an earlier podcast, it is about people. It's about, making a world that's safer for people, responding faster than we ever have done before. Are you really seeing that? I do what I want to do, actually. I'm going to take you back.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is I want to discover how both of you kind of followed the path to where you are. Sure. And that will also help us to understand how communications and how everything has changed. So let's start with you, Brad.
Sure.
Let's find out, because I believe you've got some Olympics under your belt.
I do, yeah.
And also something I think was really important to talk about is the World Trade Center as well. Yeah. So these are things where you can very seriously learn some very serious lessons to carry on with you through the role you've done. Tell us a little bit more about your background.
So I had about 3 decades in public safety, responding to just the traditional public safety and police, as well as firefighting and public safety aspects of emergency medical service, flying in a medical helicopter, and got just a great career of doing stuff, but then started to specialize in a lot of disaster responses, global disaster responses. And then also in the Olympics in Salt Lake City, we hosted the Olympics in 2002 and was one of the public safety leaders to plan the Olympics. And we thought we were doing great. Everything was going along fine. And then the World Trade Center happened. The attacks came and it changed everything because now we had a real threat to what was going on in the U.S. and a real threat to the world and making sure that we had to secure it. So I did respond to the World Trade Center. I stood there at ground zero and we had a total collapse of a lot of our communication systems for public safety. And it was a problem we'd had for decades of the interoperability. A lot of us all trying to communicate on one frequency didn't work. So all of us had different frequencies, different equipment, and then we couldn't talk with each other at all. The perfect storm happened at World Trade Center. We couldn't communicate. I said, we got to fix this. Enough is enough. We've got to fix it. And that's the FirstNet was born of that. One of the findings of the commission report for 9/11 to say, this is one of the last findings and this has got to be fixed. And FirstNet was created to fix that and solve it.
And I think what happened there, the tragedy of that whole incident, it was a world tragedy. Do you feel that that probably woke the world up a little bit more?
Oh, I think so. And it woke us all up saying, we respond together. The mission of public safety is the same. If I fight fires pick the country in Spain, I fight fires the same way in Florida. I fight fires the same way in different areas in Asia. Same thing with law enforcement. Some of the names of the agencies change, but the core mission is the same, and definitely is the same. The core need to communicate. So we said, all right, we need to be able to do this. We all need to be able to talk together. And as the world, you're saying, the world got a little smaller, and it keeps getting smaller, that we deploy to each other. We help each other when countries have disasters. The U.S. sends out a lot. We traditionally send a lot of teams out. But at the World Trade Center, we had the rest of the world coming to help us. So we were there, it's at ground zero working for a while, and teams from all over the world there. It's like, where are you guys from? Oh, we're from this country and that country, all coming to help us. And our technical communications didn't work. It wasn't working. So we're down to the old-fashioned way of just talking to each other. But we said, all right, we're going to solve this. We've got to get this solved.
Matt, what about you? What's your background? What's brought you to where you are today?
As I introduce myself, I think you're going to find really kind of what makes this partnership special, right? We talk about this network being built by first responders, for first responders. We have people like Brad that have this expertise in public safety because they lived it, right? And we have that within the FirstNet Authority and the federal government, but we also have that really woven throughout our entire team at AT&T as we deliver FirstNet services. For me, I come from the technology side. So it's this beautiful marriage of technology experience and an in-field experience about how we bring the right capabilities to public safety to make their experiences better, make them more effective as they respond. So I come from the IoT side. I worked for AT&T for my entire career practically, but it's always been in startup mentality for AT&T. I started in a group called Emerging Devices. And in Emerging Devices, we found ways to embed connectivity where the customer didn't necessarily care. They'd get their tablet and it just worked, right? And it's very much how public safety expects things to operate.
Yeah.
So working in that Emerging Devices and then eventually the Internet of Things, right? And then in smart cities, so this kind of great transition of experiences that then prepared me to bring that kind of unconscious connectivity to public safety. So when they need things to work, they just do, and we develop our solutions around that, but with the expertise of first responders in the field, but those that are
when you've been on the
team,
coalface and you see the reality of it, because I think this is something I often talk about when we do these podcasts, is you are talking about human lives. You are talking about when you're on the coalface, you're seeing the reality of the tragedies that people are facing. But it is about getting people to those certain points.
That's right.
Faster than anyone else.
That's right.
And that has to be
faster and better informed.
And it
right?
has to be through clear communication.
Right. Oh.
But then you've got so many other people using other forms of communication out there.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that yours is safest? Because that's another thing we have to deal with at the moment. There's so many cyber attacks,
That's right.
and how do you make sure it is the safest and that it maintains that security?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, as Matt was talking about, public safety just wants it to work. When we get a device, we want to just open it and it works. So we're the side in the background making sure it does do that. So we collaborate a lot with public safety, those users, the people that I still consider my sisters and brothers in uniform, saying, hey, what does it not do? So we ask, we test, and we verify, and we innovate, say, okay, let's see let's try and be a step ahead instead of trying to catch up with your requirements. Let's be in front of that. And it starts by engaging with public safety, getting with the smart folks on the technology side, saying, what's out there, what's in the realm of possible, and matching that with the
Yeah.
requirements and where we see the trends, and then say, let's get together on that and show public safety some innovations, and making sure that it's solving a mission.
And I suppose like sometimes it's coming to you just saying, can we do this?
Yeah.
And you kind of turning around and saying, well, let's see. Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
I mean,
Yeah.
the U.S. market is a little bit different than the European market in that, we have 10,000 different land mobile radio networks. That belt, that device they wear on their belt, that big heavy radio. There's over 10,000 of those. They all make decisions independently. And so when you talk about being the best, sometimes being the best means that we work with those, right? Because we can't convince them all to move at one time.
Yeah.
There's not a mandate to have them all move at one time. So it's about making sure that when they show up, they can work together, right? And so a lot of our time is spent making sure that the technology, standards, the implementation, all of that is there so that all those things can work together, so that heaven forbid, if there is ever another situation like 9/11, they can communicate with each other.
And what about on a communicating, on a global, on more of a global stage? Because that's where you are, here. You're talking to people from across the world. So how do you bring what you do to here?
Engagement with each other, being at events like this, we can talk to each other. We can talk to each other in panels and educational sessions, and just walking with each other and talking over lunch and doing stuff and saying, hey, this is what we're experiencing. This is what we're seeing, and trying to innovate together, because public safety doesn't have major budgets. We don't have the ability to just waste billions of dollars on, let's try this. It's got to work. So we collaborate with each other, and then we look at those ways that we can benefit some of the other areas, and we benefit from their knowledge. But, as Matt said today, 10,000 plus land mobile radio networks. But I will say that we're very proud of the fact in the US that we're public safety, we've got over 8 million connections, moving towards 9 million connections. So when we talk with a lot of the other countries, they're like, well, we're hoping for 200,000 or 300,000. We're like, that's okay, but we're all going to learn. So some of those smaller countries have already showed us ideas that we've implemented and are applying, saying this was brilliant. Yeah. So we're doing this, and we're doing it, and it's all for public safety.
Yeah,
because we're all. I go on vacation to other countries. You go on vacation and come to the U.S., and if something's wrong, you want to call and someone to come help you. You don't call and say, hey, send me a bunch of people who don't know what they're doing and can't talk. You call and want a bunch of decathlete brain surgeons to solve every problem who can talk to each other.
Yeah.
And we want that when we go on vacation and holiday or go do it. Public safety demands it, and the public demands it. We want to give it to them.
Well, gentlemen, just finally, tell me about the future. What do you both see now for the future?
Yeah, I think for FirstNet, built with AT&T, we think about just a single technology, a single solution that delivers what public safety wants, right? Gives them that contextual awareness of what's going on around them. It's informed by the Internet of Things. It's informed by first responders. But then in the US, right, a lot of it is about agencies coming together to work together to solve problems. Today, it can take days to bring those networks together to allow them to communicate. Being able to do that very quickly so that public safety is spending less time figuring out how to communicate with each other in more time executing on the mission, right? And so ultimately, that's what we want to equip public safety with.
Yeah, I think right now that I'm always focused on, especially from bringing a lot of big disasters, any major event you have, if you go back and do the critique, the after action report, every single one of them in the top 3 things of findings is communications. Somewhere in those top 3 communications. So the future is getting that out of there. The communications and problems with communications doesn't exist anymore. They don't even have to talk about it anymore because it just works. And so as we start implementing these brilliant ideas, getting the technology, getting the industry working side by side with us that are the responders, leveraging tools like AI, leveraging innovations in that they don't worry about it anymore. It just works. They reach for their device. They want to send, I want to send a video. I want to send voice. I want to send data. It just works. It's seamless to them. They're worried about solving the task at hand, not communicating.
Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. And enjoy the rest of your time here in London.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Who are you?
I'm Philip Mason.
And what do you do?
I'm the editor of Critical Communications Today.
Do you have a podcast?
We do have a podcast, as a matter of fact.
Can you subscribe to this?
You can
Where?
online. Well, you can go online at criticalcomms.com.
Anything else?
No, it's about the size of it.
Sweet.